Good evening, one and all. Welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2026, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 78 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 and Viksit Bharat the 2047. As part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Heart Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
गुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं गुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं गुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं गुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations and celebrations. Today is commemorated as International Polar Bear Day on February 27, which raises awareness on the issues facing polar bears and the ways in which we reduce our carbon footprint. Climate change is a huge threat to polar bears' existence, and it's up to us to take action and protect the future. Polar bears are classified as marine mammals carrying with them a thick layer of body fat and a water-repellent coat to keep them insulated against the icy cold air and water they encounter on the sea ice on the Arctic Ocean, with their territory melting away beneath them. International Polar Bear Day is an important opportunity for us to remind ourselves what is at stake here, preserving future of these magnificent mammals. It has been difficult for scientists to track down the origins of the polar bear, but a recent discovery in Norway may have produced the answer. A rare jawbone found on the Norwegian island of Svalbard in 2004 allowed scientists to estimate that species first walked the planet around 15,000 years ago. Indigenous cultures have lived in the Arctic and hunted polar bears for thousands of years, contributing towards a balanced Arctic ecosystem. That all changed in 1700s when hunters from Europe, Russia, and North America began to rapidly cut into the polar bear population. Without any regulations, people were able to trap as many polar bears as they liked, and the species suffered because of it. By the 1950s, things were getting worse due to increasing use of fossil fuels. The burning of coal, oil, and gas melted the sea ice, causing ocean levels to rise and changing the landscape of the polar bear's environment. Environmental groups began to push back on the polar bear's behalf, but their protest often fell on deaf ears as governments ignored their pleas to do more to protect the Arctic and in turn polar bears. In 1973, the US, Denmark, Norway, and the former USSR signed the International Agreement on the Conservation of the Polar Bears and their habitat. The agreement regulated commercial hunting, and the US government classified polar bears as endangered. The non-profit Polar Bears International PPA was formed in 1994, and they made it their mission to establish action programs to protect the endangered polar bear. They introduced the first International Polar Bear Day in 2011, and it has been celebrated every year since. Today is also commemorated as International Stand Up to Bullying Day. Is observed twice a year in February and November. In February, it is on the last day of the month, while in November, the day takes place on the third Friday of the month. It will next be observed on February 27th. The observations in February are a part of Anti-Bullying Week that aims to create empathy and bullying and harassment. It observed by schools, workplaces, and organizations in more than 25 countries. Bullying can have lasting effects on a person's psyche, and it is important to recognize instances of bullying and put an end to them immediately. Today is also commemorated as National Kahlua Day in US on February 27th, every year as a tribute to one of the greatest rich creamy coffee desert beverages. Today is also commemorated as World NGO Day, which is observed every year on February 27th. NGO is an acronym for non-governmental organization, and World NGO Day is a day set aside to recognize, celebrate, and honor the fundamental contributions and profound impact that these independent organizations have had on the world. NGOs are non-profit organizations, and although they are a modern phenomenon, their history spans back hundreds of years. Their influence continues to grow and make positive changes where needed in today's world. World NGO Day was originally founded in 2009 by Marcis Lair Skadmanis, a social entrepreneur. However, it was observed for the first time on February 27, 2014. It is a day set aside to honor all non-governmental and non-profit organizations, recognizing their impact on the world. This day was officially declared back in 2010 by the 12 member countries of the Baltic Sea NGO Forum, recognized as a partner of the Council at the Baltic Sea states. However, it only received international recognition in 2014 by European Union, the United Nations, and other international organizations. An NGO has been defined by the United Nations Department of Global Communications as an organization that is not for profit, voluntary citizens group that is set up at local, national, or international level to address issues in support of the public good. Though NGOs date back to the 18th century, the name non-governmental organization was created by the 1945 Charter of the United Nations, Article 71. Non-governmental organizations are also referred to as civil society organizations, CSO, non-profit organization, NPOs, membership organizations, and charitable organizations. So the distinguishing factor of NGOs is their independence from governments. NGOs are privately funded through grants, private donations, membership dues, product sales, and sometimes government donations. Surveys indicate that there is a high level of public trust for NGOs, which makes them a useful proxy for the concerns of society. According to the World Bank, there are two types of NGOs. These are operational NGOs and advocacy NGOs. The former focuses on designing and implementing development related projects, while advocacy NGOs promote specific causes that impact public policy. In the United States, there are now approximately 1.5 million NGOs in existence. So, international NGOs come into existence in 1700s, and World NGO Day is established by Marist Lawyers Candomnis in 2009. World NGO Day is officially declared and adopted by the Baltic Sea NGO Forum in 2010, and World NGO Day is observed for the first time by the European Union, the United Nations, and other international organizations in 2014. Generally, NGO volunteers don't get paid. However, depending on the nature of NGO, it may pay its employees. There is no cut and dried procedure for being a volunteer as it depends on the particular NGO. However, a degree will prove useful. NGOs need to be registered in the laws of the particular state they plan to operate in. The registration requirements may vary depending on the state. NGOs need to support the NGOs need the support of volunteers, celebrate World NGO Day by volunteering to promote a worthy movement. As non-profit organizations, NGOs rely on donations to keep running. If it is within your means, consider contributing to an NGO on World NGO Day. The first step to start an NGO is to a cause that you will be willing to dedicate your time to advocate for. Once you have been identified your passion, the next step is to set vision and mission statements to serve as a reminder and roadmap for your organization. Select people with the same vision and who have different skills needed to make the organization successful. After establishing your objectives and finding your dream team, it's time to make things official by registering your NGO. Now that you are on the move, make sure to spread word about your cause to attract like-minded people who will have your NGO achieve its goals. So this day provides the chance to recognize the altruistic individuals that contribute to the success of NGOs worldwide, from founders to employees and volunteers to regular supporters. We have the opportunity to show our support. There are so many worthy causes that are often overlooked. World NGO Day provides an opportunity to shine light on those causes, especially those that are humanitarian. So this day not only creates awareness, but also encourages others to become involved, whether it may be through fundraising or volunteering. Today is also commemorated as a Big Breakfast Day on February 27th. We love breakfast as much as the next person, but there's something unique about this day. It honors a meal maker most of the important day. We think that it is huge because it celebrates breakfast foods and snacks and encourages people to eat breakfast, something many Americans and people from other nations skip for dietary reasons. Today is also commemorated as Special Operations Forces Day in Russia, which is an annual celebration observed by the Russian Federation's Armed Forces on February 27. President Vladimir Putin established it in 2015. Special Operation Forces, also known as the Special Forces, as military units that carry out unconventional missions, both within and outside of the country. Special Operation Forces in their modern form first appeared in the early 20th century. Many countries nowadays have special forces as part of their armed forces. So the Special Operation Forces, SOF, of the Russian Federation are tactical special forces that report to the Special Operations Forces Authority of the Russian Federation General Staff. It's also a systematic and independent armed forces unit as part of the ongoing 2008 Russian military reform. The first units of what became the Special Operations Forces were transferred from the CRU in 2009. Always prepared for combat, they perform specific tasks and can function both within the country and abroad in peacetime and wartime. The Special Operation Forces Authority was founded in 2012 and declared by Chief of General Staff Valery Grasno in March 2013. The SOF, the SOF was created as a strategic level asset with allied special operations, primarily international interventions such as counter-proliferation, internal defense operations, and undertaking the most complex special operations and clandestine missions to protect the Russian Federation objectives. The SOF differs from the Spetsnaz GRU, which was under the primary intelligence doctrine until 2010, and whose subsequent subordination was unclear until 2013, when the choice was overturned and GRU Special Forces units were reassigned to GRU divisions and placed under GRU authority once more. So Russia's SOF is entirely staffed by the contract personnel, all of whom are full-time servicemen, comprised of senior officers and regular soldiers. According to multiple Russian official news agencies, albeit unofficially, President Vladimir Putin declared 27th to be Special Operation Forces Day on February 26, 2015, to commemorate the formation of Russian control over Supreme Council of Autonomous Republic of Crimea building in Simferopol, Crimea on February 27, 2014. Today is also commemorated as Skip the Straw Day on February 27th in US. We owe our strawless celebrations on the fourth Friday in February, failing on February 27th this year, to a group of young activists in Whitehall, Michigan, in the light of the ongoing battle against the global warming and plastics pollution. We'll take time this day to consider whether we really need what whimsical plastic tube in order to enjoy our favorite beverages. We can slurp more down by just going straight for the glass edge anyway. So in 2017, a group of teenage activists called the Coral Keepers established Skip the Straw Day to recur every fourth Friday in February amid frequent and intense conversation about the state of the planet and the potentially fatal effects of plastic waste for creatures in the world's largest oceans. These high school students from Whitehall, Michigan decided to establish the day in order to educate others about many biodegradable alternatives to these small but potent cylindrical slippers. The straw, as we know it today, was patented by Marvin Stone in Washington, D.C. in 1888. While sipping his afternoon mint julep through a grass straw, Stone became dissatisfied with the flavors of vegetation and mixing. So he decided to wrap a piece of manila paper into a tube and slipping his drink instead. With the rise of plastic goods and all other quick things, microwavable and processed, in 1960s, straws graduated from their friendly substance of paper to its far less than amicable cousin plastic. It takes one plastic straw approximately 200 years to decompose back into there, which means that every time single straw since its invention is floating around somewhere on the planet this day. The coral keepers have asked us to all to tip the glass rather than sit through a straw on this day. At least to consider doing away with the beverage accessories altogether. If possible, not only do these straws give off toxic byproducts when exposed to heat, but they also pose a physical risk to marine life that might try to eat them, or they might get stuck in the blowholes or air passages of fish. Today is also commemorated as Retro Day in US on February 27. Whether you are old-fashioned or not, you must admit the retro is classic, a golden and vintage era that many have been lucky to have lived through, from fashion to cars to music and beyond. Retro is a distinct style people love even now. The retro style has been defined as a style that is imitative or consciously derivative of lifestyles, trends, or an art forms. from the historical past, including in music, modes, fashions, or attitudes. Today is also commemorated as No Brainer Day, which is celebrated annually on February 27th. Adrian C. Oaks Coopersmith is believed to have founded this day in the US to encourage people to keep things simple and resolve situations calmly without stress. This day is also known as International No-Brainer Day. Is the day for you to do all those no-brainer tasks and activities. No-brainer day is a terrific reminder to take it easy and not fret too much with it when a situation gets difficult to handle with some patience. The solution to any problem can appear to be within the reach, easy to undertake if a project requires thinking, study, or analysis of any kind. Then it is not a chore or to do today. Leave that for another day, and it's no brainer. Day is also commemorated as National Strawberry Day on February 27th in UK and US, adding an extra aphrodisiac to this month of love. Devilishly sweet and yellow, delightfully low in calories, they are a perfect food to make you feel naughty and nice at the same time. Ground both around us and around world almost year round, and you are never far from a supplier of this tasty tongue tickler to help you celebrate National Strawberry Day. It is also commemorated as National Protein Day on February 27th. Our bodies crave protein. It is a macronutrient after all. National Protein Day on February 27th focuses on the health benefits of one of the body's most basic building blocks. Protein helps develop bone, skin, cartilage, and blood while promoting weight loss and increased muscle mass. It can also help us stay fit through all stages of life. High protein foods include everything from salmon to pumpkin seeds. Today is also commemorated as National Pokemon Day in US on February 27th. The Pokemon phenomenon. It doesn't fade away either. Just a few years back, Pokemon craze came and supposedly went. It all still going. And National Day has the info if you need for more Pokemon Day on February 27th. You probably need to know the origins of the pocket monsters. Fame would started way back in 1996. Today is also commemorated as Dominican Republic Independence Day on February 27th. Every year, the first celebration was observed in 1844, and it has been almost 2 centuries since the Dominican Republic was under Haitian rule for 22 years before the Independence War finally set them free after they gained autonomy. The island of Hispaniola was divided into Haiti and Dominican. Today, the Dominican Republic is the most visited destination in the Caribbean, which has the largest economy in the region. The country's citizens are mainly of mixed African and European descent. Today is also commemorated as Anosmia Awareness Day, which is observed on February 27th every year. It is a day to spread awareness about anosmia, which is the loss of sense of smell, as some people call it, nose blind. Loss of smell is associated with diseases that affect brain cells like Alzheimer's in future. Loss of sense of smell is not to be taken lightly, and people need to be educated to prevent anosmia. Anosmia is a loss of one's taste, one's sense of smell or olfactory function. While it might seem like minor concern to many people, the loss of smell leads to many serious problems for people. Smell helps people to detect in their environment, such as smoke and noxious fumes. Smell is also useful in eating and keeping overall good health. By celebrating Anosmia Awareness Day, people can explore the reasons for anosmia and different treatments that can bring relief and recovery. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations and celebrations. We thank each and everyone for joining us in today's session, and see you all tomorrow at the same time with the same joining link. Before leaving, we request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form, which has been shared in the form of polls. Take care. Good night.